What's good, Meat Boys? We're fresh off with a Meat Locker win. We are switching things up for a bit for this Wednesday fight card. It's Ige versus Kattar. In this meat main event, there's even more than that to discuss. Meat Boy, tell them about the parlay fillet.
We were able to get our meat locker back on track last week with our successful prediction of Thug Rose Namajunas as she took out Jessica Andrade with a close fight in a split decision victory for Thug Rose. She clearly dominated those first two rounds, in my opinion. That third round, Jessica Andrade peppered her up a bit. You can see her face got marked up, but it wasn't enough for Andrade to steal the nod, and ultimately Thug got the decision. So we're 4-1 lifetime with our meat locker. Our lone misstep was when we predicted that Julian Erosa would lose to Sean Woodson, who was undefeated at the time. However, Julian came in and looked good. We got a friendly, deserved ribbing from his mother. Debbie, don't forget to like and subscribe. Much love, Debbie Rosa. Anyway, so we started this whole journey with $200, and with Thug Rose, now we have $147.62 in the bank. You'll notice we're still in the red if 200 was our original investment. But as we promised last week, we will be firmly out of the red within one or two fights, was I believe what we said. Let's just do it all in one fight card, but with two fights. We're going to go for our first ever parlay fillet when we throw down a bit on Khamzat Chimaev and Calvin Kattar. Khamzat Chimaev is minus 360, whereas Kattar is minus 305. We're going to bet $77.62, which will profit $54.08. Now, obviously, with a parlay, we need to hit all aspects of the bet. Otherwise, we win nothing. Parlays are generally considered to be a sucker's play. We over here at MEATBOY MMA wouldn't recommend using them too frequently, but if there's ever a card when there are multiple meat lockers, we're going to share that information with you. So again, minus 360 Khamzat Chimaev, minus 305 Calvin Kattar, betting 77.62 to profit 54.08. That'll get us a new balance of 201.70, getting MEATBOY MMA out of the red and back in the green. And we're going to call it a permanent upgrade, so to speak. So why are we so confident with Khamzat Chimaev and Calvin Kattar? Well, let's talk about it. So again, not always, but sometimes multiple absolute meat locks that simply need to be grilled end up on the menu. And so for our parlay fillet, the first of our two fighter parlay is the Welsh Wrecking Machine, John Phillips, taking on Khamzat Chimaev, a.k.a. Boars, a.k.a. Meat Boars. Okay, I got to be honest. I'm a fan of John Phillips. I often find myself rooting for the guy. I was stoked when he knocked out Alan Amedovski pretty recently. Check our channel. That video is posted of that. Here in Performance of the Night, that night it was well-deserved. It was impressive. But we can't neglect that John Phillips is 1-3 in the UFC. That was his only win. He has losses to Charles Byrd, Kevin Holland, and most recently against Jack Marshman, which admittedly was a close fight. Either way, he's 32-9 overall and 1-3 in the UFC. And again, Phillips was supposed to take on undefeated prospect Dusko Torodovic, but he withdrew and was replaced with an even scarier, in my opinion, undefeated prospect in Khamzat Chimaev. The Chechnyan Swede is 6-0, coming in with a lot of hype. And let's just say Khamzat, a.k.a. Boars, a.k.a. Meat Boars, is the real deal. What are your thoughts on the first leg of our parlay fillet? And tell me what you know about Meat Boars, Khamzat Chimaev. What do you got, Meat Boy?
Yeah, I mean, Meat Boars, he has been said to hit like Justin Gaethje and maul like Khabib. Other than that, he trains with Alex Gustafsson at All-Star MMA, undefeated in 6 pro contests, with all 6 coming off early finishes, and he's never gone decision. He's finished every fight from amateur to pro. We've been paying close attention to Borgs over in Brave FC and could not be more excited for his debut, even on a short notice. Although Phillips is a tough, gritty dude, one punch KO power in those early minutes, I just don't know if he's going to get it done.
I'm so glad you mentioned that about Phillips being very dangerous in those early minutes, right? Khamzat Chimaev's gonna have to keep that distance, right? But Boars, I think, is gonna tee off on him on the feet. I don't think that Boars is gonna eat any of those meat bombs, and I just think John Phillips is gonna gas out in a minute or two, and then just like you said, it's just straight Khabib Maul style. This
Yep.
kid's coming in with a lot of hype. Tell me what you think about. How do you think preparing with new heavyweight Alexander Gustafsson and second new heavyweight Alir Latifi, How do you think training with those guys would prepare meat boars, for a big guy like John Phillips? Do you think it's helpful?
I think it's gonna be very helpful. I mean, let's be honest, Gustafsson is on a whole other level to John Phillips. I mean, John Phillips, I mean, definitely a great fighter. You know, but comparing to a great like Gustafsson, not even comparable.
Right?
I
Yeah.
think Meat Borgs is going to run through John, and it's going to be pretty bad.
I'm with that 100%. If we look at the Tapology, obviously most of the people 1409, 1409 are with Boers, 85%. They see him doing it by submission, which is fascinating. I mean, we haven't yet seen Boers go the distance, so it's not shocking to see that small decision window. That's the first leg of our parlay fillet. Again, parlays usually suckers bets, but if there's double the meat locks, we're going in on it. And the second leg of our parlay fillet is Calvin Kattar, the Boston finisher, going in against Dan Ige. We are super confident in Boers. We think he's going to run right through John Phillips. And we're maybe even more so confident on Calvin Kattar, Dan Ige. Meat Boy, tell me why Calvin Kattar is just a straight up lock in this main event on Wednesday.
Yeah, so I think Cater is just been looking so sharp, so good. He is coming off a one win, one loss in his most recent battles, but that was versus a beat. I mean, one of the greatest
Sure.
upcomers, and some could even argue that Cater like kind of won that fight. It was a very close fight. It was very competitive. He just dropped Jeremy Stevens. Jeremy Stevens has never been finished in UFC history. I mean, Cater's just been an absolute monster in that division. Dan Ige, he's been looking great too, but I don't think he's been looking as sharp as Calvin has recently.
Yeah, I feel that. And what are your thoughts on the whole Dan Ige versus Barboza in that last fight? I mean, a lot of people thought that Barboza won that fight. Do you think Ige is kind of being tossed to the wolves to cater a little bit here, or deservedly or undeservedly? What are your thoughts on how Ige got this fight?
Yeah, no, I think Ige they're trying to bump up one of these guys, and whoever wins
Sure,
is going to finally reach that new level. I
sure.
just think that Dan Ige last two fights he did get. I mean, he has been on a fight win streak recently, but his last two ones is really ones that really matter. Most recent, on how you're performing, both won by split decision. And he's kind of, he's not really a finisher. I don't see him knocking out Calvin. I don't see him
Mhm.
submitting him. Maybe he can outpoint him, but I just don't think he's a superior boxer or stand-up fighter compared to Calvin. And Calvin just has that power where he's gonna smoke him, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, it's obviously the second leg of our parlay fillet for a reason. I think he's just going to be way too big for him. I always see Danny Gay as one of these like kind of in betweeners where I think he's too small for featherweight and he's too big for bantamweight. He's just kind of one of those Ray Borg type in betweens. And Kevin Lee, right? It's tough against a big 145er like Cater. And you mentioned earlier that fight against Zabit. If that was a 5 round fight, Cater was going to win that fight. I
Yeah,
mean, Zabit came
absolutely.
out and won those first 2 rounds, but that sketchy. I mean, I'm going to call it sketchy. That sketchy gas tank of Zabit was exposed in that Cater fight, and Cater was
Yep.
turning it up on him in that third round. And how do you think? Do you think that he's going to get it done on the feet, or do you think it might turn into a grappling match?
Yeah, I think that Cater is going to TKO Dan
You
early
think it's a
first or
finish?
second
Okay.
round. I don't
And
think it's
early.
getting to the third. I don't think it's getting to
Yeah.
the third at all. I think he's just going to drop him just like he dropped Jeremy Stevens.
So again, it's the first ever parlay fillet. Our current balance is 147.62. We're not going to bet all of it. We learned our lesson with Juliana Rosa. We got trolled by Juliana Rosa's mom. We're going to be a little bit more patient, and we're going to get ourselves back in the green, but we're not going to wager all of our hard earnings. We're going to be a little bit more patient this time around, more deliberate. So again, our current balance 147.62. We're going to bet 77.62, and the bet win will be 54.08, giving us our new 201.70 balance. We're back in the green. We're taking two steaks to the grill. We're getting two bills. Meat boys, we're out.